back by popular demand. That's right, I'm reading with my glasses because Greg Lalevee has glasses. He's hiding them. Mary has them, and she's acting like they don't exist. But trust me, we're all using cheaters. Speaking of someone who never cheats, Greg Lalevee, business manager, general vice president, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825. Good to see you, my friend.
It's good to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
I went back, Mary, and look, this is the 5th or 6th time we've had Greg on Lessons in Leadership. We always learn something new, right?
Oh, yeah. No, and I'm really excited for today's topic. I'm not going to show my hand, but I'm excited to see where this is going.
Mary, put your glasses on so people can see what you look like with the glasses.
Well, this is good. Why know why I'm going to put them on? Because I think I look better with them nowadays because as I get older, I get bags under my eyes. So with the glasses on, you cannot see the bags. And I feel like they're more of an accessory nowadays. So, but I think if I do this, you could see the ring light and all the other lights.
Greg, do us a favor. You had the things that are hanging around your neck.
Yep. I took them off, so they're not standing there, but we'll go from here to here. So
that is great.
Take them off because your wife will give you heat about that because she doesn't like
sure
you hanging around. Trisha, watch. She looks at those things. Hey, Greg, listen. We should disclose that we're longtime partners with Greg and Local 825. We do a leadership academy. This has been 3 or 4 years we've done this. And also Greg's been a longtime supporter of our public broadcasting and lessons in leadership. But Greg, you said something in the last leadership seminar we did at 825. You threw an acronym at me that I thought I knew everything about leadership, which is a joke. It's VUCA, V-U-C-A, volatile, uncertain. Mary, let's put a graphic up in post-production.
Of course, definitely.
VUCA, V-U-C-A, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. What the heck is this, and what does that have to do with leadership?
It has everything to do with leadership, strategy, developing your people. So many of the topics that you touch on through this Lessons in Leadership program with several leaders. But volatility, very simple. It's change, the propensity for change, the speed of change. It could be anything. Uncertainty is just the probability of something that might happen. You can fire up your favorite weather app in the morning, look at what's the percentage chance of rain today, and that's going to be a decision on whether or not you carry an umbrella with you. If you don't, you get wet because it was a 15% chance of rain. Nobody told you there wasn't any chance.
Right.
Complex is a simple, when somebody makes a decision, you topple a domino. How many dominoes topple behind it? How many different directions does that go in? What factors into those decisions? And ambiguous. Very often in our leadership academy, you implore the students to deal with message sent equaling message received. And that's just it. Language is ambiguous on its surface. So are we talking about the same thing? And organizationally, how do you deal with those 4 things? How do you prepare your people? How do you strategize to live in a world that is those very 4 things?
Wow, a lot going on there. Greg, the VUCA acronym comes from where? Is it, is it Warren Bennis who came up with this, the great management guru?
Honestly, don't know. I actually read it in a curriculum developed by General George Casey, who was the Allied commander in Iraq from 2004 to 2007 before President Bush made him chief of staff of the U.S. Army, where he served in that position for the next 4 years.
You know, I'm realizing, and Mary did some research on this, coined in 1987, Mary, VUCA, from leadership gurus Warren Bennis and also Bert Nanas. And as Greg's talking about this, the U.S. Army War College introduced VUCA, VUCA, to describe more volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, multilateral world perceived resulting in the end of the Cold War. But Greg, that's military leadership. Are you saying ain't much difference between that and our world?
There's no difference. And while General Casey lays his curriculum out in very military terms and circumstances, you can apply it to for uncertain. I use the circumstances, is it going to rain today? It can be very simple. It can be very complex.
And not to mention how COVID, as we do this program 3 years into this pandemic, talk about uncertain and volatile. Mary, jump in.
Yeah, I would love to go right to the A in the VUCA acronym, talking about ambiguous. And how do you get people on your team? You referred to the Leadership Academy, but what I found is so challenging, especially for the 20 and 30-year-olds, getting them to be more specific, precise, concise, not only in how they communicate, but in writing with deadlines. How do you truly get a culture where things are not left very open-ended?
It's up to leadership to develop a clear vision of where they want to be. So one of the things that I say here is we're a union of heavy equipment operators. And I've told my people, and I say it over and over, I want to be the sole source of heavy equipment operators for those people who would employ heavy equipment operators. And we hang that around our training, our recruitment. Everything we do is about making sure that the best of the best who operate heavy equipment, who do the things that our members do, work through our hiring hall so that people realize that if you want to get a skilled heavy equipment operator, we're one phone call away. And that's what I want this organization to be and to be known as.
But at the same time, Local 825, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, talk about pivoting, talk about adapting, talk about hustling. And I'm sorry for keep pulling this out every day. I'm hustling. Greg is as well. Greg, this isn't just some management or leadership theory for you, VUCA. You live it every day. And to that end, in the Leadership Academy, we have, together with Greg, because Greg participates very actively in the Academy. He's there and offers his input and feedback, and he's a co-facilitator. There's a question here, trust me. We often have the participants in the Leadership Academy, how do I want to say this, Mary? We put them in uncomfortable positions where they have to present an idea to improve things at 825. And Greg, one of my favorites, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I know you believe that as well. Why the heck are we making people uncomfortable in the Leadership Academy? And what does that have to do with leadership?
It has everything to do with leadership. It's living in such an uncertain world, whether it's COVID. For operating engineers, it's technology on the equipment. Everybody's got their disruptors in life. It's about making your leaders thinkers, strategic thinkers, making sure that you develop an agility inside the organization so that you can handle change when it comes. It's not so much about planning as it is about strategizing.
Mary, is listening to Greg, devil's advocate question plays in my mind. Why do we keep putting Mary, we're talking to an outside firm to put a strategic plan together for the Caucus Educational Corporation, our not-for-profit sister organization. And sometimes I do think, seriously, a strategic plan. I think God is laughing while we're doing that. I mean, Mary, how the heck can we do that with so much uncertainty, volatility, and change around us? As you listen to Greg, is a strategic plan useful these days, Mary?
It is. You need to at least have a roadmap, even though it may not be perfect, even though there may be detours on the way, along that roadmap. At least if you have a general idea of the direction that the organization is going in, it does three things. Number one, it gives you peace of mind, but most importantly, it gives the people on your team peace of mind that they all are rowing in that same direction. And then literally the third part of that is when, something, the proverbial, what hits the fan, then at least what are you laughing at?
Because Greg knows where I'm going as soon as you said that.
Oh, I know, leaky bags.
In this new book that's named after Greg Lalevee.
I'm feeling the leaky bags. I'll throw those leaky bags over to you in a second. But yes, when those things go wrong, you'll at least have some sense of where you want to be. So even though the route may have changed to get there, the goal will remain the same. So I'll throw it back to you with the leaky bags.
But Greg, add to what Mary's saying, but at the same time, there is a chapter in Lessons in Leadership 2.0, the tough stuff, which is a follow-up to the book Lessons in Leadership. It'll be coming out sometime this summer in 2023. There's a chapter really dedicated to Greg, because Greg came up with the phrase, I don't know which seminar we were doing, but he said, listen, we need to stop dumping, quote, leaky bags of SH and figure out the rest. Greg, A, comment on that. B, go back to the strategic plan. Throw it out the window, use it, what? Do leaky bags first. Remind everyone what that is.
Sure. It's somebody walking into a leader's office or near their desk and saying, here's a problem and we, nasty word, should fix it. Well, the question becomes how? Or do you have an idea on how to fix it? Do you have a plan? Do you know what the organization needs to do? Do you need my help as the leader? Do you need money? Do you need other people in the organization? What fixes this problem? To know there's a problem is great. To start to develop the roadmap on how to fix it or deal with it is something a heck of a lot better. So I'm trying to develop our people to think that way, to start to think about answers. And to Mary's point about strategic planning, sure, the plan has to be there. And because it is all about having an overall strategy of how you want to accomplish your goals, I think it's just necessary to understand that that strategic plan isn't necessarily chiseled in granite, because if you can't change and adapt, you're never going to really accomplish your goals. So you have your vision, you have your goal, you have your strategy, but that doesn't mean it's all about agility. I think agility is probably the largest component that any organization can try to get into their people, is having an agile leadership team who's able to change.
Last issue I want to raise with Greg, and has something to do with he actually said in our last leadership seminar at A25, but around the word should. I'm going to come back to that in a second, Greg. And I know you're laughing because you remember what it was. But Greg, Mary said something about the strategic plan at least gives people on your team a sense of, security. And I hear that, Mary, and I understand it intellectually, but there's a part of me that thinks it's false. And here's what I mean. Greg, how the heck are we supposed to communicate a sense of security? Yeah, we'll be good when we're going to do everything possible to not just survive, but thrive, but we don't know if we're going to be good. And we're supposed to be telling our people, don't worry, we got this. Seriously? Isn't that false confidence on some level, Greg?
Well, I think you have to give your people direction and again, a strategy, but it's incumbent upon leadership in any organization to continue to sharpen the saw, to look forward. One of the exercises in General Casey's curriculum was to look inside your organization and identify your 3 strengths and your 3 weaknesses, and then look externally and do the same thing. But that requires that exercise to be done periodically, because those things all change. So it's just a matter of continuing to refine and move forward and not be afraid to change your strategic plan. The military uses plan A because there's letters B through Z. So you have to be able to change it.
Yeah, my point there, Mary, is yes, we want our people to feel safe and comfortable, but we can't guarantee the outcome. But real quick, Greg, got a minute left. You said we were talking, I forget what we were talking about at the 825 Leadership Academy, but I said, someone said, so-and-so should do something, and you jumped in and said, should. Go ahead. Well,
I said should go on itself. It's the vanity of the shoulds. It's a horrible word. It's in my mind used by people who don't want to get involved and don't want to confront the problem. Hey, you know what we should do? No, we shouldn't. We should actually work and do, not talk about what we should do. Develop a plan, come up with a strategy, identify the problem, identify the solution. Not, hey, this is a problem, we should fix it. That's great, but walk in and say, hey, this is a problem. Here's my plan. Here's what we need. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's the people I think I need to help me with it. What's the best way out for the organization? So I'm not a big believer in the word should. You learned that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, by the way, Mary, I got a minute left. We also should credit Greg with bringing this book to us, Extreme Ownership. Talk about a military leadership and its connection back to everyday leadership in any other field. Greg introduced us to this book. Mary, give me 30 seconds. You should do that. You should. But Greg says, what a ridiculous, go ahead, go.
Yeah,
go, Mary.
it's the woulda, shoulda, couldas. Get those out of your vocabulary. It should be, I can do this, I will do this. And I agree, it's wishy-washy language. And we should definitely, it goes back to the ambiguous. That is very ambiguous, that word. And you should be very, if you say it and you put intention into your words and the language you use, then the results will come.
And the other thing about extreme ownership that Greg has taught me over the years, and this book reinforces, which is, by the way, in our Lessons in Leadership Library, go on our website, stand-deliver.com to check it out, is this. If we as individuals do not own our actions and say, you as upper management should do this or should do that, it's an excuse for what we must do as leaders, regardless of our place in the organization. That's what Greg Lalevee has taught us on Lessons in Leadership and me as a coach in the field. Hey, Greg, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Steve. It's great being here as always.
Greg has become an official co-host of Lessons in Leadership without pay.
No problem. I
You
love
got it.
being here.
Mary, say goodbye officially. Go ahead.
Goodbye officially. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
That's
Thanks,
called
Mary.
delegation. See, delegation. See you next time.